Hello, my name is Paul Stearns, and this is my devCodeCamp Capstone project presentation. I'd like to begin by just giving a little bit of information about myself. My first programming language was actually BASIC on a Commodore 64 back in high school, and this was when you still had to use line numbers in your basic code like 10 and 20, 30, and 40. After high school, I joined the Army, and then after that, after active service, I joined the Army National Guard in California and Florida while I attended college. In Florida, I attended a junior college, and in the library, I saw a flyer for a laser show that was being presented at the planetarium that was on campus. I was so fascinated and impressed by the equipment that I saw there. I spent the next 32 years working in and around planetariums. I started out as a student assistant at that planetarium on the college campus, and then I worked my way into becoming the technician where I was in charge of maintaining the equipment, changing out the shows, and even running a laser system that initially attracted me there. Finally, I became a vendor where I was selling equipment and installing equipment to other planetariums around the country. My duties as a vendor included the demonstration, installation, training, and servicing of this equipment, and they were laser entertainment systems, video systems, and automation systems. I've acted as an on-site manager for projects large and small, from simple upgrades to a small planetarium to renovations, again large and small, that went from just a simple changing out of some equipment to brand new construction where you have all kinds of vendors and trades and architects all scrambling around trying to get work done in the same space at the same time. It's usually pretty chaotic and very frustrating, but you can usually work everything out with a little bit of patience. And once the project is done and everything is good, everybody's happy, it's usually pretty satisfying. I've been self-employed doing pretty much the same work since about 2015. Work's getting harder and harder to come by, especially with the pandemic and everything. So it's time to move on and seek a new career, which is what led me to the boot camp. On the left-hand side, you can see a photograph of my wife and I. We're at the Mauna Kea Observatory in Hawaii on our honeymoon. We have two Siberian Huskies, Kalani and Tika, that are photographed there at the Joshua Tree National Park, California. They travel with us in our RV wherever we go, so we usually like to go and explore things, like to walk on the beach, and that photograph was taken by my wife a few years ago on a beach in Georgia. One of the projects that I worked on as self-employed was I came up with a graphical interface for an older DOS-based control system that I had installed previously. There's several of these systems still around and in use. They've just kind of fallen out of favor because they are text-based. So the interface that I created on the bottom there allows you to control the lights, the video, special effects, and even the analog star machine. This version of the interface is currently in use in about a dozen planetariums around the country. It has a Java backend with a JavaScript and HTML front end. I learned this prior to starting the boot camp, taking some video courses and then Googling to find answers to any of the problems and questions that came up. But without any further ado, I think it's time to take a look at the project I did while I was at the devCodeCamp. So I call this project True Believer, and it is a application that allows you to search the Marvel API for information about some of their characters in the comics and even some of the creators. I myself collected comics for about 25 years, and I had to give them up finally when I didn't really have any more room for all the comics that I had. I think I had about 10,000, and they were also getting very expensive. When I started collecting, they were still only 25 or 30 cents a piece. Now I think they're up to $5 or something, and that's a little too steep a price to pay. The technology that's used is MongoDB to store all the user information, Express to handle the sorting of the page, React for the user interface, and Node to handle all the libraries and packages that are used within. Again, the API that's used primarily is the Marvel API. I'm also using Google Charts to display some information. Some of the Node modules that are being used are Axios for the HTTP requests, JWT or JSON Web Token decode for the authentication and security of transmitting the information back and forth between the front end and the back end. Also using React icons to help style some of the controls in the application. The API key that I received from Marvel does require encryption, so I had to use a crypto module in order to do that. And then finally, I used Postman to create and test out all the routing that was being used. You see the little Captain America icon. That's the icon that I've chosen for my, that shows up in the web tab. That's also the color scheme that I use. So let's go ahead and take a look at that application. I'm going to go ahead and start by logging in. I've already created a user. That's my own. So log in. We come here to the home page, and here we have a chat style social site where users that are logged in or not, can post comments, and then they can be liked. You can like a comment, and you can see the accounts changing. You can also post a new comment, and we'll say something like, I thought cool. And you see it comes in, so it's going to put the most recent comment at the top. We can also go and adjust our profile. So in our profile, we can change the information. If I want to change like my avatar image, I can go and I can select a new image. And I think I will choose Tika, which is my youngest dog, as my avatar. So update the photo, and we can see that that's been changed. We can also change some of our information, like I'm going to update my location. I'm actually in Naples, Florida, and we'll go ahead and update that information, and we'll see it's back here. I have some characters that I've already searched, and I've added them to my favorites, and they show up in my profile page. We can actually, if we like them, that will show up in the statistics page, which I'll demonstrate in just a moment. If we want to see more information about it, some of the characters have descriptions, some of them don't. Let's go find one that does, like Peter Parker. He should have more information. So here's a description about him. And then here are some of the comics that he's been in throughout the years. There's various amounts of information from Marvel about these page counts, the title, issues, and descriptions. If we go back, let's say we don't necessarily like the storylines or something, and we want to remove them from our favorites, we can go ahead and just choose delete, and that character will be gone. If we want to actually search for another character, we can go to the search tab, and we can type in either just a simple letter, like we can see what comes back if we type in the letter J. And so we get J. Jonah Jameson, who's a nemesis for Peter Parker. If we want to see some more information, we can go ahead and select that. And of course, we see characters, comics that he's shown up in. He doesn't have his own title, so he's usually a guest in other comics. And again, depending upon the information that comes back, we have descriptions and issue numbers and titles and so on. We do see over here a quick list of the characters that we've already liked. If we want to go ahead and add Mr. Jameson to our collection, we can go ahead and add him to our favorites, and he'll show up. If we decide, no, maybe we don't like that, we can always go over here and just delete him. If we decide we want to search somebody else, like let's say Captain, and we'll see it comes up. We have Captain America. There's Captain Britain, and then Captain Marvel. We'll take a look at current Captain Marvel. We'll go ahead and add her to our favorites, and we'll like her, and we can see some more information. Go back. In the statistics section, we can see what characters various users have liked, and it kind of ranks them, so we can see who's the most popular character. If there aren't, like a whole series of characters just have like one vote, then we won't see their name. I didn't want that to be too cluttered up. So that's pretty much the extent of the application right now. Going forward, I hope to make some other improvements. A couple of improvements that I want to make are as follows. I hope to be able to refactor some of the code. I know I have a lot of repeated code, and I need to make a little more improvements for some of the components. I'm actually reusing, I have a lot of components are doing the same thing, so they could be refactored and probably reused over more, which is the whole point of using components. I want to be able to expand the search of the Marvel API for not just characters, but also comics themselves, maybe specific issues and specific creators, like say Stan Lee or Jack Kirby. I want to be able to add those comics and the creators to the user profile as I can the characters right now. Right now, the characters, comic and creator, I want to make sure that they can only be liked once by a user, so you don't have somebody that's trying to stack the deck by, liking a particular character multiple times. And I also want to make sure that a user can't like their own post. Right now, you can like any post that's there. And I also want to try to remember which posts have been liked by a specific user. So there's some more work to be done, and I hope to learn more. I'll continue to make improvements, but right now I hope to move on and start a new career doing this. So please give me a chance. Thank you.